Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in today. And today's episode 21 of Manifest Monday. And today we have our special guest, Mr. Tyler Holt. And Tyler is not only an entrepreneur, he's the CEO of 212 Performance Gym here in Colorado. He's a fitness trainer. He's been training for consistently for 14 years. And he's also a hybrid athlete. Tyler, thanks for joining us today, man. Really
Yeah,
looking forward to this, talking more about fitness, nutrition, health, and all that.
Absolutely. My pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me.
yeah, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, so before we get started, I'll just have a little quick question, man. What really got you into fitness? What was it for you that made you like, you know what, fitness is something I want to get into?
So when I was a basketball player my whole life, and then after
Who lost you for a second?
after after high school, I was just a super skinny guy growing up, basketball and a sprinter in track. And once I stopped playing basketball, I needed something to do, and I was honestly just truly had a lot of confidence issues with myself growing up with how skinny I was. And so I was like, well, if I'm not playing basketball, I'm just going to go try to get big. And so uh, I started going to the gym. And at that time I had started working in sales at 24 Hour Fitness, actually. And then there's a guy there, just a huge bodybuilder. And so I just went up to him one day and I was like, can you help me get big? And so I hired him as my trainer, actually. And that was probably 15 or 16 years ago. And then that's what took it off. I just started lifting and I fell in love with that process. And he was like, do you want to maybe compete? And I had no plans on that, but I was like, sure, why not? And so I competed, ended up doing really well at that, got my pro card 3 years into that. And then that translated into kind of everything that my career has blown up to with training and, the fitness modeling, and now just learning and always trying different modalities of training into the hybrid setting now. So I've stepped away from kind of the bodybuilding style and got just more into pure strength training, but then also endurance training as well. So last year I did my first triathlon. I did a marathon. Got a whole list of events that I'm doing this year as far as that concerned. So really trying to find the perfect balance between, can you have a good physique? Can you have muscle? Can you have strength? And then can you also at the same time have the endurance to go out there and be able to go run a half marathon, a marathon? Because those are two very different training styles that typically don't clash with each other very well. And so my whole kind of mission now is just to try to have best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's perfect. And question, you mentioned about transitioning to being pro. I was actually having a conversation with a athlete yesterday. She was a ballet dancer, and like obviously in every regard, being professional in any sport or whatever the case may be is always going to look different. What does the lifestyle of like a professional bodybuilder and stuff like that look like?
Lift, eat, and sleep, man.
And repeat probably.
Every day in, day out. I look back at that time in my life, and I have never been more dedicated to something as I was in that span of time frame. Nutrition, lifting, everything was so routine, and it was hard for me to balance that. I was young. I was in my early 20s when I did that. I was in college, and so having to say no to a lot of that college lifestyle things, the going out and all that kind of stuff, and really just trusting a process and trusting. That's mostly where I learned, what the power of delayed gratification really is. And trusting and putting everything into something, knowing that down the road that is going to pay off. And so that, for me being a young guy, it was literally like just getting rid of all distractions. That I don't know, and I'm sure anyone at a pro level of anything feels the exact same, but it's lonely and it's tedious and it all sounds miserable, but while you're doing it, you would never change it for the world. And so that was really what it's like. I was in school and I was a trainer at 24 Hour Fitness, and outside of that I was eating and lifting and that takes care of most of that stuff for bodybuilding, but you just eat, sleep, and breathe bodybuilding.
Yeah. And it's funny you mention going through that process and that journey, even that loneliness, right? And all of that. I think that's a part of the journey that enough people don't talk about. And it's just like, I think it is important to go through that in any facet of life, whatever it is that you're pursuing.
Yeah.
But if you want something bad enough, it's not always going to be peaches and roses and like, a frolic through the springtime meadows. There's going to be,
Not even close. Yeah.
it takes that grit to like really like see if you want it bad enough, I think. So like, I'm glad that you spoke to that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, entrepreneurship. You guys are doing this, you guys have this entrepreneur podcast, right? And so you talk with a number of different people, and in any avenue, if you want to be at that top 1%, I mean, that is literally what it takes. And so whether that's bodybuilding, whether that's growing your business, and I switched from bodybuilding to go straight into building my gym and my personal training brand and all that kind of stuff. So it was like focus here and then switch and focus here. There's no balance. And, you hear people talk about there's no balance all the time, and there really is no balance. You can't have that balance if you're trying to get to that level.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, we talk about that too. Balance, like, balance is only attainable in the short term. In the long term, it's just, there's always going to be something that requires more attention, more just of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And, balance is important to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think everyone should have some kind of balance, right? If you got family, you got friends, you got all that kind of stuff, right? So balance is important in a to a certain extent, but you ask anyone who's successful in their field,
right,
that balance is non-existent. It's just not there.
Yeah.
It's almost tough to really think about, can you be balanced and great? Like, you know what I mean? If you're super balanced, it'd be hard to be super great at something, because being super great will require like a laser focus. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, that's a tough thing to kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
sure.
You have to, back the bodybuilding thing. I missed family birthdays. There's a lot of the birthdays and holidays and stuff that I chose to miss out on that sucked at the time. But it's, again, how do you get to those places if you're not making the decisions every single day? Every small decision.
Yeah.
A lot of people can be good, right? A lot of people can be good at things while maintaining balance. But if you are trying to just be fucking great,
right?
Yeah.
There's so many small decisions on a daily basis that you have to make
to
get there. And those tiny, tiny steps, they add up. And so while some people might be like, oh, it's just, for, holidays or whatever, it's just one meal. It's just, that's one meal. I'm further away from this person who's doing better than me, right? This is one rep, one lift, one decision that is taking me away from my overall goal. And so that's kind of that's just the mindset that has to be there if you're really trying to push those limitations and those things in business, especially, right? I mean, so many of your decisions have to be based on, is this important for right now, or is this what is going to set me apart, moving forward here? And you have to wear a lot of different hats. You have to just sit in your thoughts, and you have to really you got to dig deep within yourself and make those hard decisions, make those hard choices. And it's going to piss people off, and people are going to be sad, and all that, but you got to just be okay with you got to be okay with that if that's where you want to go.
Yeah. What's more important, your dreams or your distractions, really? It's the separation between good and great is so immense that I don't think, to your point, Tyler, you were mentioning a lot of people can be good. You think about it, like, especially like sports and stuff like that. Take, for instance, the NFL. Everyone who's in the NFL, right, like are like the elite of like the elite. Like, these are the best, but even the separation between good and the NFL and great is so immense. Like, Tom Brady's compared to like, the has-been, the third stringer, that's huge difference. But but that same pro athlete would annihilate anybody on
100%. Yeah, 100%. Like, and that's the funny thing, you take all these top college players and you're like, you guys are all top in your respective field, and then you go throw them into the NFL, and you're like, oh, suddenly we're not so great. So that's the thing. How many Tom Brady's are there? Right? There's just one. There's one Peyton Manning. There's one Tom Brady. But that is everyone's goal, is to get to that level.
Right.
But you look at, and especially now, you look at everything that Brady went through with his family, the decisions he made
Yep.
that ended up costing him his family. And that
Yep.
that
Yeah.
is the perfect example of like, I'm great. I need to do this decision
Yep.
regardless of the effect that it has on my other areas of life.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not always saying like everybody go be Tom Brady and make the same decision that he did, but like
Right.
sometimes you have to make the decision that's best for
And
yourself.
that comes down to the person, right? Okay, yeah. Normal, most people would not make that same decision, but most people
Right.
are not Tom Brady at the same
Yeah.
time, right?
They
So
wouldn't make all those other decisions he made either, right? Like, so
exactly,
to be fair.
exactly, and it's a day by day, decision by decision by decision
Yeah.
type thing, and it just has to be. It's a compounding. It's compounding interest. It's like putting money into stocks, right? It's all
Right.
Yeah.
compounding
Yep.
interest,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
so why some people look at it and they're like, oh, just skip this. That's one day. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Well, it is a
Right.
big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Side note, what position did you play in basketball?
I was a shooting guard.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
What on your journey, right? You know, like I'm sure you've been through a lot over the last 16, 17 years that you mentioned. Is there any particular like highlight or any particular like segment of this journey that's been like your favorite?
That's tough because I mean, one thing has led to another thing has led to another thing. At the time I was bodybuilding, that was like the greatest thing.
right.
And then I got into the fitness modeling, which actually paid me instead of me having to go,
Yeah.
pay to be on stage or whatever. And I think that was honestly, I had a lot of fun there because I traveled all over the country, and I was I was with bodybuilding.com and I was with Muscle Farm
Mhm.
at the time, and I was doing a ton of traveling for like their campaign work and expos, and it was you show up to these events and you got a line of people waiting to meet you and ask you questions and all that kind of stuff. And so that was very fulfilling for me. One, to be able to travel, two, to be able to just meet all these people that you have impacted in some
Absolutely.
kind of way, and you never, and I think this ties into a different subject, but I think the importance of like sharing your journey, and a lot of people are very private and don't want to put all their stuff on social media, and I totally get it, and I'll respect that all day. But I think there's a powerful thing in just sharing bits of your life and putting whatever you're doing on social media, because you never know who it's going to touch and in what way, and who it might impact, or who's there's just so much that you can put out there that might affect somebody's life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's important for people to do that, even if you're not, for people who are like, oh, I don't have that many followers. It really doesn't matter, because you can still affect somebody's life that way. And so me being able to just travel across the country and meet all these people and do all these things, that was just a very, very fun time in my life that I got to experience all that. And so I would say that's probably those few years of doing that was probably the most enjoyable, the most fun, and like some of the most rewarding, as far as that's concerned.
Absolutely.
How'd you initially make that transition, like from bodybuilding into like fitness modeling, and then eventually becoming a fitness influencer? How did that transition start?
Yeah, that's funny, man, because I literally had no intention of any of this, of me being where I am right now. There was no intent on any of that when I first started. I was literally just a skinny guy who just wanted to be a big guy. I didn't care about anything else, but that's all I did. Like, I was on, Instagram, whatever, and I just kind of posted my story as I was going along with this, and showed me getting bigger, and then showed me competing, and it just, people started reaching out, and it just kind of got some momentum. And then I had some photographers reach out to me that wanted to shoot with me, and just started building a portfolio that way. Mm-hmm. And you shoot with one person, and then a person above them wants to shoot with you, and then a person above them wants to shoot. And you just kind of start meeting people, and so that just all led into that. And then the bodybuilding.com, I joined in there. They don't even do it anymore. They used to do an athlete search, I guess you could call it, and that was nationwide. And you went through this whole process, and then there was 5 girls and 5 guys that went into this finalist thing. They flew you out to the bodybuilding.com headquarters. You were out there for a week doing campaign work and just all sorts of stuff. And then from there, so I made it all the way to the finals out there. Didn't end up winning that, but Muscle Farm saw me on that whole thing, and then they reached out to me. It actually ended up working out in my favor, I believe, versus winning that entire thing. But it's just, I just continuously just put myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like 2 years prior to that, I had entered myself into that same competition, didn't even get past the first round. And then probably like 2 days prior to it ending, before you could submit your info, I was like, whatever. And I was like, I'll try it again. And I made it all the way to the final. So it was a ton of just putting myself
Mm-hmm.
out there. And like I said, I had no intention.
Right.
It wasn't like, I need to be a social media influencer. It was like me posting my stuff.
Yeah.
And it resonated with certain people, and then it resonated with more people, and it resonated with more people, and then it just
Yeah.
grew. And then
It's,
so there's
sometimes
always,
you're an influencer because you have influence. That's it, huh? Like,
exactly. And there's all that. There's no such thing as luck, right? It's you being prepared for certain situations, and so I was always in shape. I was always ready to go. I was always ready to do a photo shoot. I just myself in that position, and then just was talking with people. I tried to just talk with, and that's like even with my gym now. Like I can't tell you how many people I talk to on a daily basis, like that I'm just reach out, say hi, say whatever, and it kind of freaks people out because they're like, you have this many followers there, but I'm like, no, I'm a grinder from day one. I will talk to every single person. I don't care what my followers look like, what all that looks like. Like I'm gonna grind, and like I've had the gym for almost 9 years now, and we've expanded and we've done all this, but like nothing builds without the proper relationships and being able to connect with certain people that can get to different spaces, along with you having to put in that work in order to meet those people and be in those situations. So it all has to just play into each other.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something I want to talk about. Like, because you said you worked at 24, you was a trainer, and then you transitioned into opening your own gym. So how was that entire process like, right? Because at one point when you were in corporate, to take that leap of faith, you can be kind of like scared. So how was it like for you? Do you want to like walk her through that?
Yeah, that was really scary. I worked at 24 through college. I graduated, college, and then I was like, my degree is actually in criminal justice, and I knew like my junior year that I wasn't going to pursue that because I fell in love with fitness and just the aspect of personal training and helping people. So after I graduated, I was like, okay, well, I felt my kind of my drive to train people going down when I was at 24, and I was like, there's something to this. I was like, I love helping people, but there's something about this environment that is like just shoving me down. And so I just started doing like punching my own numbers. I was like, if I left 24 and I took all my clients and I did this on my own, I was like, one, my amount of money I'm making triples immediately. And I was like, and then, I set my own schedule. I don't have to answer to anybody. And so I found a little tiny garage gym that somebody I knew from high school had opened, and asked if he was bringing trainers in there. And he said, yeah. So I and it's scary, going completely on your own. And so I talked to all my clients, left 24, made that leap. Immediately, like I said, I tripled my income like immediately. And it just sparked the joy in doing that again. And then from there, in the back of my head, I had this, I'd be cool to own my own gym one day. Like it would just be a cool thing. The place that we were renting space out of, the owner was into some kind of sketch stuff, and ended up that relationship with that whole place just went way down south, and he gave myself and some of the other trainers there like a 30-day notice to get out because he was switching up his business plan. And so that day I called one of my clients and I said, I need you to find me a building. I was like, I'm just going to do this myself. So it was just a challenging time when somebody's like, you got 30 days to go figure your own shit out. But it was it was that fire under me that I needed. So it was truly the blessing in disguise that that situation happened, because with that, I don't know
Right.
how long or if I would have opened the gym had that situation not come about. So,
Yeah.
And again, goes back to, had I not had the relationships I had with people,
Right.
had I not been putting in that work, I would have not been lucky enough to be in that situation to be able to just take everything and go start an entire gym from the ground up.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and, you know, and then starting that was scary. I had 30 days to figure out, like, how in the hell am I going to build a gym from the ground up in 30 days? But again, had connections. There was another gym going out of business, and he was moving to Florida and needed to get rid of everything. I got $60,000 worth of equipment for $18,000.
Oh, wow.
So I just scrapped everything I had together, bought that, I put my car up on lean, got a small loan from just a small little starter business loan company. I don't even think they're in business anymore, but a small loan to cover like the turf, the mats, the mirrors, and then new trainers that were ready to leave 24, call it. And like, so I was able to somehow scrap everything together and hit off the ground running. And then it was just, you know, you take one step and you start doing really good. And then there's like, if you want to go to this next level, you almost have to drop way the fuck back down here and then start climbing again. And so, and it's fun at the same, like, you kind of get addicted to that cycle of like,
Yeah.
Right.
okay, my next step, it's like a grind for me. I need to work at something again.
Right.
So, and that's just what it was. And you climb up and then you go down. And then we built that gym up, and then it was time, our lease was up and we wanted to expand. So boom, we made another leap of faith to go get the bigger building that we're in now. And it brought us back down here. And then now we're climbing back up. But I think you become so accustomed to just making those hard choices that, like, once that choice or once that time frame comes up where you have to make that decision, it's not even a second thought in your mind. You're just like, yeah, I'm going.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the part about greatness, man. It takes knowing yourself first and foremost, you know, like, and just trusting in the process at the end of the day. Like, you know, like, this is something that you've done like several times. Like, it may not have been to the same capacity, like, you know, like going from a smaller gym to the next gym, but it's just like, okay, I know how to successfully run a gym.
Right.
So like, is scaling up kind of thing. So like, it's just, all you're doing is expanding your process, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, you're already trusting in yourself. You already know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think for a lot of people, I think that is what holds people back the most, is people don't trust themselves, and they don't just have enough internal, like, I can't say that people don't have an internal drive. I think everyone has that drive in there somewhere. There just hasn't been something to trigger that for them.
Right.
Agreed.
And so I get, you know, I've been a coach for 14 years now. I see people that come in, and I see people that just have no confidence, no drive, no internal drive. They don't know what they want to do. They don't know how to do anything. This is this. And, you know, to try to transform somebody out of that mindset is a challenge in itself. And what, you know, part of what's frustrating is, like, I've done it so many times for myself, and you know that other people can do that. And you're like, why won't you just do it?
Right.
And I get that it's so much easier said than done, but like, I get so passionate about that in particular that I'm like, if anyone that's close to me is like not living up to their potential, I'm like, I just want to strangle them. I'm like, what the hell is wrong? Like, why can't you just do this? And so you just, when you have that fire for you, you want it for all the people around you. You want it for your friends, you want it for your family. And then when people don't show that, it's frustrating. But, you know, when you have dealt with so many people one-on-one like I have, you just see that that's such a common trend, is that people just don't have that belief in themselves. Mm-hmm. And most people have not put themselves in a position where they have had to be able to bring that out, right? Like,
Right.
you know, taking those uncomfortable steps in order for them to actually find out who the hell they are,
Right.
and bring that out of them.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll also say, I think the fear of failure sometimes just like make people not want to do the things that they really want to do. Because I did, like for your example, your story, right? You never owned a gym before. You went straight into it, right? You figure it out. But I think most people would have been afraid. Oh, I'm a trainer here. I'm 24. Have my clients is saved. So I shouldn't messed up with it, right? I could just stay
Yeah.
here and be comfortable.
Yeah.
And I feel like whenever we try to be so comfortable, we never progress and move to that next level.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. I think comfort. I think comfort is one of the worst addictions we have in this world.
Yep.
Because people want growth, right? If you go ask any person, like, hey, do you want to be better? Do you want to do better? Do you want to make more money? Do you want better relationships? No one's going to say no.
Facts.
But they're so addicted to that comfort feeling
Right.
that they will never get to experience anything other than just where they are.
Yeah.
And that's a shame.
Right.
It's a real shame,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Greatness lies right outside of your comfort zone.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just one step. It's most people think it's like this Michael Jordan of a climb to be there.
Right.
It's literally
Yeah.
just one step here, and then
Yeah.
one step here, and then one step here. And you know, like I said before, this is just that accumulation of tiny
Right.
steps, and then suddenly a year later, you have no idea who that old person even
Yeah.
was. You're a completely different person, all because you just started making uncomfortable steps.
Yeah. It's funny. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday. Actually, the ballet dancer that I was talking to, the professional dancer, she was mentioning just like what that looks like is just when you take that bet on yourself and like, you know, like you just trust in it and just continue to pursue. No one has it all figured out. Like you're
Right.
figuring it out along the way.
Yep.
You're gonna fall flat on your face at times.
Yep.
You know, like pick yourself back up.
Yeah.
But that's all part of the process, and it requires that in order to just keep going.
Yeah.
And that's in those moments is when you truly realize what you're capable of, what you're made of, you know, and it takes you going through that process, you know, just like we talk about. Greatness requires a very grueling process. You're breaking yourself down, building yourself back up again, breaking yourself down, building yourself back up again. But that's what greatness requires. And it's just like, you know, anyone can be good, anyone can be comfortable, right? You know,
Right.
like most people function in that capacity, you know, and that's okay. You know, like if that's what you're comfortable with, but it's just like for people like ourselves, like, you know, like you said, that intense fiery passion, like it's just like I just want to like strangle people sometimes. Just do
absolutely.
it. Like,
yeah, and that's the thing, because you're like, once you do it enough times, you realize how easy it actually is
Right.
And so when people are just like so scared, you're like somebody's looking off the edge of a cliff and you just want to just push them off, like just
Literally.
learn to fly on the way down. That's like baby bird, man. They just jump and they hope their wings work on the way down. That's how it has to be.
Yep.
Like if you just started and kept doing it, that's literally the formula for a lot of things.
Right.
For so many,
Start and keep doing it.
For everything. Do one thing and do it consistently, and eventually you're going to be damn good at it.
Exactly.
That's a fact.
No one was great when they first started. You know, we talked about Tom Brady earlier. Tom Brady didn't come out being like a 7 times. He didn't come out the womb being a 7 times.
He didn't even come in the league like that.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant in the league, right? Like no one knows about him in the league. It's just, you know, you learn to play a guitar. The first time you play a guitar, you're gonna suck.
Right.
It's gonna be fucking terrible. But 100 days later, 2 years later, had you just done that thing consistently, you're a great player suddenly, right? Like, and it gets frustrating that people don't see that and people don't take those actions in their life. And there's only so much, like, especially me as a coach, right? I can give people the formula,
right?
Like, you want to do this, cool. Here, golden platter. Follow this. We're gonna get you there, and people will still fuck it up. And people will still sabotage themselves, and people will still just be afraid to do that and be consistent with it. And you know the phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? Humans are the exact same way. You can give people every resource, every step, you know, whatever, and people will still choose not to do it.
Right.
Honestly, most. You know, like but that's just a part of life, and you know, it is what it is. But I guess reeling things back, I know you mentioned obviously like making that leap into entrepreneurship and ownership and what that looked like for you, and being able to triple your income and like, you know, all these great things that obviously happen from that. But I'm sure, you know, owning a gym isn't all glorious as it probably is cooked up to be. So like what would you share, like, are like some like struggles or like hidden truths about, you know, ownership and entrepreneurship in that regard?
Yeah, you know, I get a lot of people that ask me, like, they're like, hey, I want to open up a gym. you know, they're like, what advice would you give me? And honestly, my advice is don't. Which sounds bad because like you want to motivate people, but like owning a gym, one is expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
The equipment is expensive.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
overhead.
talk about some of those expenses.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we just bought this called a pendulum squat. We just got the other month. That one piece alone was $6,000. Like,
Yeah.
and you know, and when you own a gym, if you're buying shit for your house for just you to use, you can go cheap, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
When you have a gym with members in it that are just pounding the shit out of it, you have to buy the expensive stuff because otherwise it just breaks. So it's that, and right, and then when you know, kind of like you said, you're never fully prepared, right? I didn't know what the total overhead was going to cost. You have no idea what the energy bill is going to cost. You know, you got those summer months that come along, and you got to crank the AC because people bitch about the heat.
Yep.
And suddenly, you know, you've got a $2,000 energy bill. Like, there's so many little things that you just can't be prepared for until you actually go through the motion. Right. When the gym first started, we were just a personal training gym. So we just had contracted trainers out of there. We didn't make a dime for 4 years. Yeah, probably like 4 years. Mm-hmm. It was just break even. And really, I when I opened up the gym, I was like, I just want a space to train my people. So that right. But I needed a space that I obviously needed to find a way to cover the space. So we brought trainers on, and we were break even, and that was kind of cool. And then it was, you know, got to the point where like, okay, we need to start making some money. And so COVID came, took down a ton of gyms, almost took down 24-hour fitness. All this kind of stuff. And I had a bunch of people text me like, hey, big gyms are down. Can I come? I'll pay money to come use your space, da 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 da. And I was like, well, I'm not turning down all this money. And so I was like, well, fuck it, well, let's open. And so and again, scary. We didn't know what the hell was going on when COVID first started. Like nobody knew what it was, but I was like, I'm not letting my gym go under. My gym supports me, it supports my business partner, and it supports all my trainers, like and their ability to live and make money. Like it's not going down under my watch. It's just not gonna. So I was like, well, fuck it. I guess we'll start charging like a little membership for people to come use the gym. And that is when things really started taking off. And that is when our lease was about to be up. And I was like, okay, we need to double the size of our building because we're going to just hit the membership hard. And, but you know, you go and the financials to people and they're like, well, you're not really making that much money. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I need the space in order to make the money. So like, just trust me, you know, and you can't go to people and just like, just trust me when I tell you, I'm going to put the work in, everything's going to be fine, right?
I got you, baby.
yeah, like, okay, yeah, we'll try telling banks and landlords that they don't give a shit. So, but again, luckily I knew people that put in good words and could do things for me and all that kind of stuff. So we got the building, we doubled the size, and just immediately we were just like, our membership was just started skyrocketing. And so it wasn't until 2020 that we actually implemented memberships into the gym. And so, you know, prior to that, you know, we had loans to pay off. We had all this kind of stuff. And then if one thing breaks, you're like, you're digging into your own pocket to pay for this. Like, you know, it's just, there's so many nuances to just not being, you cannot be prepared, at least the first time. You can't be fully prepared for what is to come, right? And then when you get into a business like a gym where all the equipment is expensive, mirrors are expensive, turf is expensive, you constantly have lights on, you constantly have the energy running. Like there's just all this stuff that is just constant. And one machine breaks, you got to repair that. You got to go buy a new one. You got to do this. You got to do this. It's just a constant come at you, and you just have to fight and get up, and then just eventually, you know, you clear that red line, you know, so eventually. But so yeah, when people come to me and they're like, hey, I want to open up a gym, I'm like, don't. Don't. It's very expensive. But you know, I tell people that, but honestly, there's not a thing in this world I would rather be doing. And so when that comes down to, you know, having to now we're in a great place, right? But like back then when it came down to like, cool, I have to take $1,000 out of my own money this month to cover all this kind of stuff. Like I did it and I was like, man, that sucks. But there was no doubt in my mind that that was what I was going to do at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just so many unknowns,
Mm-hmm.
which goes back to people being scared about that. But finances is a big one.
Right.
And not knowing. But for me at the time, I was a single guy. Like I'm chilling off ramen and Totino's pizzas. If I gotta live like that, that's fine. But for people that have kids, that have a wife, that have whatever, that enhances the risk of all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But yeah. Financials is just a huge piece to that. So, you have to. You could be like me where you're just like, we'll go and we'll just kind of figure it out, or you can try to have a little more set plan, but regardless there's going to be stuff that pops up that you're not ready for.
Yeah. Right. And I mean the cool thing about like today's age, like we're obviously in the age of technology, right? Like and everything's online, so like there's plenty of coaches who do online coaching solely and like do it very well, right? You can make money doing anything on the internet nowadays. Coaching is one of those things. So like, anyone can find a model that works for themselves, right? Whether it be a brick and mortar like gym, or if like you just want to train online, whatever the case may be, there's an option out there for everybody if that's the life they want to pursue. So
yeah, of course. Yeah. And especially, like you said, the way technology is now, like there's no reason you shouldn't be making money doing something.
Right.
It's just, it's almost like too easy now. I mean,
yeah. Chat GPT can tell you how to make money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You just literally ask that question and it'll come up with all these different things for you. It's nuts. It's nuts. But I think again, just kind of circling back to like those leaps with respect to people's situations.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's just like at some point in your life, and we can use an excuse for everything. Money can be an excuse. Time can be an excuse. Everything can be an excuse. But like, and even for the people that come ask me, give me your advice on opening a gym, or trainers that come to me and are like, hey, I want to be a really good trainer. What do I need to do? Okay. How serious are you about this, first of all? Because I'm not even going to have this conversation with you if you're not like ready to do whatever this takes. I know too much. I've been through too much. I'm not going to have some boring ass conversation with you, right? About this. If you're just not even, if you're like 10% in, 20% in, we're not even like, it's not even worth the conversation. So there's a lot of things. And I've trained thousands of people over my career, and a lot of my one-on-one clients, they'll go through phases in their life where they just hit a slump, right? And I think that's normal for most people. We go through slumps, right? We go through something happens in our life. If somebody dies, I don't know, whatever it is, right? Something that just kind of takes us out of our routine and puts us in a little slump. And it doesn't do any good. One of the things I've learned with training with people, it doesn't do any good to harp on people and push people if they are not mentally in a space where they are ready to do things. If I have a client who's fallen off, not following their meal plan, not getting all their workouts in, and I know that like mentally they're in a space where they're just not, for whatever reason, not ready to give it all, I'm not even going to bug them about it. They're going to come in, we're going to do our session, we're going to do our thing. But I'm not going to be like, why aren't you following this? Where's your why aren't you tracking your thing? Because it doesn't do any good, because they are not in a space when they're ready to do that. And then, but you give people that space, and they always come back and they're like, all right, I'm ready. And then you're like, cool, let's fucking hit it, because they're just there, they're ready. And that mentality has to be there. And so you can tell having conversation with people that are like, oh, I'm interested in doing this, or I want to do this, can you tell me a little bit about that? I'm like, well, how serious are you about it? It takes a lot. Because I'll talk for 6 fucking hours on all this kind of stuff. I'll give you every bit of information you need.
Right.
But if you're going to be like, oh yeah, cool. And then you're going to go home and you're just going to like, just do nothing, like not do anything with it, then there's no point in us having a conversation.
Fact.
I think that's the thing that we talk about a lot is just, it really all boils down to how bad you want it, right? And I think just a lot of people just don't want it that bad
Right.
enough. Like, like you talked about earlier, that intense, fiery passion where you just want to strangle people sometimes. Like, you got to have that passion in order to accomplish some of the things that you want to accomplish, especially like if you're seeking greatness and stuff like that. And you can't feel that in someone. Sometimes they just, to your point, they have to go and figure that out for themselves.
Right.
Yeah, and I think, to transition this, and I'm sure you guys deal with this plenty, right? Like you all have like your friends that were friends back in the day or whatever, and then you kind of suddenly like you go down your path, right? And they go down their path. But there's so many times where I am in such a motivated route, and if I have somebody who was a real good friend of mine or family member, it really doesn't matter to me. If you're not on that same wavelength,
Right.
Yep.
I still got love for you, and I still hope nothing but the best for you and all your success. But like, we can't be close because I cherish that energy of mine way too much, and I give way too much in order to not get that reciprocated to me from my relationships and the people I keep close to. So, and you guys being who you are, I'm sure you are completely on board with that. You got people that you once were friends with, and you were like, oh, we're gonna be boys till the end, and now you're just not, right? And or maybe family or whatever, right? But like, you just know that like you guys aren't on the same path, not on the same level, whatever it is, and protecting your energy around people is also just a very crucial part of driving that success. We'll go back to Tom Brady. Like, you think Tom Brady hung around people that just fucking drank and did drugs all weekend? No. No, not even close, right? So the caliber of people that you keep around you is also just a crucial piece to your path of success.
Yeah.
You can do a lot on your own, right? I mean, you can do a lot on your own.
Fact.
But it only helps if you have those type of people in your corner.
Absolutely.
Pushing you along, right? Yeah. And not only like, I expect that a lot of the people that I consider close to me, I have very high expectations of them. But it's not out of like not return. Like, I'm going to improve your life. Yeah. If you are close to me, your life is improved. You can guarantee that for me, right? But I need that same thing. And if you don't give that to me, if you serve me no purpose, right? Like I said, I got love for you. We don't take anything personal, anything like that. We just can't be close.
Yeah. Yeah. As you ascend, like your circle gets smaller, right? It's just, I heard a good analogy is like, greatness, like the journey path to success and greatness is like hiking Mount Everest, right? Like, you may start with a large group of people, right? The higher you climb on that mountain, the harsher the conditions get, the thinner the air gets, like, and eventually that group is going to taper off. You might have started a group of like 16. By the time you get to the peak of that mountain, there might only be like 2-3 people left, like, kind of thing. That's exactly what greatness and success looks like. And I was just like, man, that's honestly one of the best analogies I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, and there's just nothing more true than that, And you find out, you quickly find out who those people are in your life, and if you're like, if you're leading by example, right? The people that are in your life are either going to pick up on that and they're going to start to improve, or they're just going to fizzle off. Sure. Fizzle off anyway. Like going up a mountain, right? You're going to be plugging away, and you're either like, you and a couple other people are going to be like, yep, let's fucking go. Right. And then the other people behind who just don't have that same drive, they're going to be done. Yeah. Right. They're going to be done.
And also, it's fact. And also, I was thinking, right, because sometimes people will be like, oh, I don't have self-discipline. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. But I was trying to think the other day, I was like, we all do have self-discipline to a certain capacity, right? If you're somebody who wakes up every morning, all you do is scroll on your phone and watch YouTube, you are disciplined enough to do that every single day. So that's self-discipline, but just in a negative way. If you're the same old person who wakes up every day and read, you're self-disciplined, but you're just being more productive, right? So at the end of the day, it's all about, for me, it's like now just kind of like switching that mindset, right? Do things every day that is going to help you get towards your goal. But most of the time, like, people around you, right, like you said before, man, like, you're trying to elevate. And then sometimes they become a little envious because there are certain things that they want you to do, and you don't have the capacity, you don't have the time to do that no more. And they're like, oh yeah, you're trying to act better than me, right?
Right.
We're not boys no more. But at the end of the day, sometimes it can be a little bit hard. I ain't gonna lie. When somebody actually like you, enjoy the company,
Yep.
but you gotta realize you're like, man, my growth means more to me than this friendship. You know, like I'll see you there. If you wanna like elevate together, we can do this together.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
all you want to do is just go out and party all day,
Yeah.
that's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Not on that.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't resonate with you, right? And that's those, again, those small decisions. Could I watch TV for an hour, or could I
Right.
work on this side hustle I've been trying to work on for an hour, right? An hour doesn't seem like much, but again, if you're working on one thing for an hour a day, every damn day, eventually you got it.
Right.
Yeah. Eventually you got it. And you know, and again, there's that we go back to that balance aspect of that, right? Like some people, you know, you want to read your book at night, or you want to work on something at night, you want to be productive. Some people need that balance where they just have to like sit and just watch a movie, watch TV, or whatever it is, right? And that's the deciding factor there. Yeah, sitting down and watching a movie would be fucking great some nights. Like,
right.
Yeah, I want to relax. I like downtime. I like relaxing too, but I like this other stuff more.
Yeah.
But that's hard for people. And I like what you said about like people have that discipline of watching TV, right? Some people love their specific shows so much that on fucking Wednesday night at 7 p.m. it's showtime, right? Like,
and they don't miss that.
Nothing.
They don't.
Yeah, and nothing else matters except for that show at the time, because that is what they're like, this is what I'm doing here, right? And so everyone has passion, everyone has discipline, is just relayed in different ways. Right. And if people could just take it and just ball it up and put it into something more productive, people would get a lot further. But you know, whether people didn't have somebody guiding them the right way, or again, they're around the wrong people, you know, people just get stuck.
That's actually one thing I wanted to ask you, man, because we talked about that before, and there's been people on, you know, that in the comments and then they ask, like, how do you find that group of people that you're talking about? You know what I mean? That, you know, that motivate you and reciprocate. A lot of people say that they don't have those people. From, you know, we've talked about it before, but in your opinion, how do you find and connect with those people?
So I've got an aspect of this that a lot of people shy away from. And actually, we did an event at my gym a couple weeks ago, and it was, the premise of it was finding like your limit or your max, right? And it was, the premise of it was doing hard things. And then I have two things, I made a post about this actually, that'll improve the quality of your life. One is doing hard things. Two is being around good quality people. Even better yet, if you can do hard things with quality people. So
that's hard.
So the biggest thing, and this is, so I'm gonna go off track and then we'll bring it back. The last year, right, I call myself a hybrid athlete now, which is doing the best of both worlds. I got so bored with my bodybuilding routine that I felt myself getting in a rut. I didn't know, I was just going through the motions of like lifting in the gym, all that kind of stuff, right? But there was no drive or purpose into me being better at anything. And so one of my clients, he, got good situation, but also bad. He got this crazy promotion with this new job and all this kind of stuff, and was doing great, but just started traveling nonstop and really fell off. I mean, we got this guy to lose almost 100 pounds. He's a big triathlete guy. And then he just completely fell off, started gaining all his weight back. And I was like, dude, what do we need to do for you to get back on track? I was like, do you need me to do like a triathlon? Now, mind you, over a year ago, have you told me to do anything endurance related, I would have told you to fuck off. So I was like, do you need me to do like a triathlon with you? Want me to get ready for one with you? And he was like, yeah, that'd be cool. And I was like, oh shit. Shouldn't have opened my mouth. But I was like, okay. I was like, okay, this is another leap thing. I was like, you know what? I've never done anything like this. I was like, this seems hard. I don't know how to swim. I got 8 weeks to get ready for this triathlon. Let's fucking go. So That's what I did. I learned how to. Now I could swim, like get across the pool,
Right.
right? But like the actual technique of swimming, I'd never learned. I had to go get lessons. I had to do all this. I had to learn about running efficiently. I had to learn about biking efficiently. I had to do all this kind of stuff. And I just put, it was such an uncomfortable switch for me to learn how to do endurance, swim, bike, run. And I knew nothing of any of that on that level, you know. And so I had 8 weeks to learn it all. And I did it. And we went and we crushed the triathlon. And then we ended up having like a big group of people from the gym do the triathlon as well, which was cool. But like that, for me, brought back like, this was maybe the hardest thing I've ever done. And I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I fell in love with the aspect of that. And then I was like, I need to get back to doing these hard things. And so it was a few months later. There's a festival out in Atlanta called the Running Man Festival. And you can sign up for whatever race distance you want. But I had a buddy who was like, I'm doing a marathon. And then we had 4 weeks till this event. And he's like, I signed up for the marathon. He's like, you should sign up for the marathon. I was like, that's 4 weeks. I was like, that sounds stupid enough. Let's do it. So then I like 4 weeks, I did whatever I possibly could to get ready for the marathon. That marathon took us 6 hours.
Damn.
To fucking do.
Oh, yeah.
Was just brutal. Because how do you get ready for 26 miles in 4 weeks? Like it's one of those things where you're like, I'm here for the pain. I'm gonna sit in this pain cave and we'll finish it somehow, some way. I'll get it done. Like I'm not worried about getting it done. And then it was just one of those things where like, and then suddenly I was like, I'm gonna make other people do this shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I say, you got to do hard things and you got to be quality people and do hard things with other people, I was like, all these people are not doing enough hard things, or they're not doing hard enough things. They think that what they're doing is hard, but they become so accustomed to it that it's not.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took it upon myself to now we have this calendar in my gym. It's called the Big Ass Calendar. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Mm-mm.
No, it's literally called the Big Ass Calendar.
All right, big
like it's this giant square, and it's got the month and then across every day. And so the goal of it is to prepare your year by writing down the events that you're going to do and putting them on this calendar so that you get to stare at them every single day. So I came up with a list of events that we're doing this year, and I'm like, nope, you're signing up for this. You're signing up for this. And I'm like just peer pressuring all these people to sign up for this kind of stuff. So, but to go back to your question, I found the people that I consider very close to me by just putting myself in harder situations and trying to do these harder things.
Yep.
And you find other people that are doing these hard things, and suddenly those people go very close to you. The guy I did that marathon with, the dude's 6'9", like 260 pounds. He was a college basketball player. He's just huge. He was not ready for that just as much as I was, but he's got so much more body than me. Like, so he was hurting big time. The last 2 hours, I would say, of that race, him and I didn't say a word to each other, but he suddenly became like one of the closest people in my life.
Yeah.
Because we were just in that pain cave together for 6 hours. Right. And so just doing those things with people, just like it brings you a certain closeness that like, I don't know how you get anywhere else or any other way,
Yep.
And that's not to say that people need to like, I would never tell someone to go run a marathon in 4 weeks with no preparation for it. Like that's just my kind of crazy shit that I, whatever. And the more hard things you do, that's David Goggins is the perfect example of that, right? Like, he just goes and does all these crazy things and then you're like, God, that just seems crazy. But then you do one crazy thing and then you need to do an even crazier thing. And then suddenly you're like, I understand why he does all this.
Right.
Like, and you can imagine like he's on a whole nother level, right? And you don't see him posting videos with friends. So you're like, how many close people does this man actually have in his life?
Right.
And maybe it's because he doesn't talk about it. but you can imagine that the people that are close with him, the kind of relationship that they
Jeez.
have.
Yeah.
You know?
They gotta all be beasts.
Oh
They're
yeah,
all beasts.
Yeah.
They
yeah,
gotta be.
absolutely.
They
And
gotta be.
so absolutely. And so either you are doing something that is so intense and so kind of out there that somebody else is going to be like, wow, that's fucking awesome. I want to do that
Yeah.
too. And then you guys become close. Or you start doing this crazy stuff and then you meet other people that have been doing this
Exactly.
crazy
Right.
shit and you
Exactly.
become close with them. So, so do hard things, meet good quality people, and do hard things with quality people.
That's man. I'm
That's
glad you
bar.
spoke. That's a bar, man. Like for real. Like and Ramond and I can probably attest to this. We talk about that often. Is like I think the reason why we've gotten so like because we all went to college. Like Diamond, Ramond,
Right.
college together.
Nice.
But I can speak specifically to Ramon and I, you know, just like obviously into entrepreneurship and we obviously do music and like other things. I think the fact that we went through this journey together like, is what
Right.
really developed our bond even further.
Exactly.
Like I always knew we were like homies, but
Right.
like there was like I can remember moments in our friendship where I was like, that's my
Exactly.
dog.
That's my
Like that.
dog.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly it, right? You guys went through some crazy journey together, and it was hard, and you went through struggles, and y'all probably disagreed on some shit, and
Yep.
there was things that probably tested your relationship, and now it's inseparable, right? It
Right.
is, you know,
Yeah.
and that's what that's about is finding those people
Exactly.
that are just there
Yeah.
and are
And
willing to
you gotta be a person like that too. That's what I think
Right.
people don't
Yeah.
even really
exactly.
think about. Is like you gotta be a quality person doing hard
Right.
things. You
Yeah.
gotta, you
Right.
know what I mean? Be a quality person. Don't always look for the I understand that don't look for the best blessing, be the blessing. But it's really just in every piece of life. You can't just look for something that you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
important, bro.
That,
That's spot on, you know, and that's why I'm like, cool, well, either I'm gonna do all this kind of stuff, and some people are gonna come with me, and some people are gonna fizzle off. But the people that come with me, we're riding and we're going up, like,
Yeah.
right.
and that's just how it goes. So for the people that like, and you know, there's a lot of people who I got a friend who's he's one of his good friends. Um, they went through just like some life struggles back in the day,
Mhm.
and they were just kind of there for each other. And now they kind of went their separate ways, but like every time, but this guy's really trying to make improvements and all this kind of stuff, and the other guy's really not doing much. And every time they get back together, he comes back down to this.
Right.
And you know,
Yeah.
I made a comment. You know what? I was like that he ain't not doing anything good for you. Yeah, but he was there for me through some really hard times. I was like, that's cool and that's
Right.
great. I said, but that does not mean that he has to be here now.
Yeah.
When you are trying to be better and you are trying to elevate, and he's just bringing you back down. You
Yeah.
know, so people will be there. People are in certain times of your life were close with
Right.
you and maybe have done something for you. That doesn't guarantee him a spot on the roster for the rest of your life, though, right? And that doesn't tie you to them. That doesn't mean that
Right.
you have to. And I think there's a lot of people that are just in those kind of situations where like, oh, but we've been friends for like 10 years. And I'm like, yeah, but some of your people, some people's friends and family are the worst people in their life.
True.
Yeah.
As far
Yeah.
as far as restraining them from being who they want to be. A lot of people want to be something really good.
Yeah.
They just have the worst people around them that just bring them down.
Yep.
And making that decision to cut those people out is extremely hard because you
It
feel indebted to them because they were there for you for something,
Right.
Yeah.
or you guys went through some shit together 10
Yeah.
years ago.
Mhm.
But you know, this ain't 10 years ago. And if somebody's not trying to, and you know what, like you start doing better. And if they can't support you for that, and if they can't be on board with that,
Yeah.
well, then they don't need to
Yeah.
be there. Right.
Right.
I got a rule of 3. If it doesn't make me money, make me better, or make me happy, the answer is no.
Right.
It's just no. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Does this make me money? No. Okay, then no. Does this make me happy? Is this something enjoyable for me? No. Okay, well then no. Right? Or does this make me better? Does this educate me? Does this
Right.
take me to another level? Does this, you know, create something new in me? And again, if the answer is no, I got no time for it. So if more people just kind of had that mindset of, you people need to be stricter on themselves, right? People need to have higher requirements for themselves, right? Right? Is this making me better? Is this first thing? Does this make me better? Right? So many decisions in our day could be tied to, does this make me better?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, then why the fuck are we wasting our time?
Absolutely.
What are we doing?
Plain and
we were just talking about this the other day. Is like, not everyone deserves access to you, and people make themselves too accessible. Like, you can accessible to everybody. Like, it's just like, especially if you're trying to accomplish something that most people never in their lives will do. Like, you just have to understand that. Like, you have to embody that in all facets, and you just got to understand, like, you don't need to be accessible to everybody. To your point, it's not like there's any ill intent. Like, there's still nothing but love. Like, I see people and do their best, but at the end of the day, we're probably just not going to do that together. And there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, use your journey yours, mine is mine. You know, like, and I'm rocking with the people that I'm rocking. You know, but not everyone deserves that.
Yeah.
No.
It's true.
Yeah, and if you try to give that much to all these people, you have nothing left for yourself.
Right.
In which case you're in a worse spot than you already were. You know, one of the funny things, I get a lot of clients over the years, and like parents, and they'll come to me, and you know, one of the conversations, it's a cliche conversation to have, but it's always like, what's your why, right? But I don't like asking it like that, but like, why are you here? It's like a question that, like, when someone comes to talk with me about training, that's why are you here?
Right.
Well, I want to get in better shape, and I want to do that. No. Everybody wants to be in better shape. I don't give a shit about that. You'll get in better shape just by being here.
Right.
Why do you want to be here? Like, what does this mean to you? And then there's people get shocked when I give them this response, and I'm pretty fucking blunt with people just because I've done this for so long, and I'm like, you know, even the people that I bring on as clients, like, they come in to talk to me, but I'm interviewing you. I don't need you. I don't need you as a client. Like, you know, you're here for my help, but you need to be able to handle what I'm going to give you. So when people come to me and they're like, oh, you know, I want to do this. My kids are my why. And I will look at them in the face and I'm like, that's not enough.
Right.
You should see the look that people give me when I tell them that their kids are not enough. And they get so shocked and like, what do you mean? My kids are everything to me. And I'm like, that's fine. As they should be. They're your kids. But it's not enough for you to make that fucking change that you need to have, that you are wanting for yourself. If you're doing this for anyone other than you, you will fail. Yeah.
100%.
You will fail. Long term, you will fail because you never did it for yourself in the first place. And that's really the only thing that matters when you're trying to level up is, are you doing this for yourself in the first place?
Right.
Yes, you want your kids to have a great life. You want all this, But again, if it comes back to, if you're a shitty fucking person, if you're not healthy, if you're not, you know, then you're a bad parent. You're a shitty parent, right? You are not being who your kids deserve for you to be their parent, right? And so people just get shocked when I say that, and I'm like, it's not enough. If you're not doing this for you, if your sole purpose for doing things is not internal, we're put on this earth to be selfish. Our mission on this earth is survival first and foremost, right? You have family, you have kids, you give a piece of yourself to these people in your life, your friends, your business. You give. If you give everything, you suddenly have nothing, and then you have left people with nothing. And so the drive for everything internally you have to have some bit of selfishness inside of you if you want to better yourself and you want to better the people that are close to you.
It's important.
And being selfish is not always bad, right?
It's not.
Means like, all right, instead of me going to the club on a Friday, I want to stay at home and work on this business idea that I believe in 2-3 years is going to give me a better return. And one good point you mentioned, though, is like leveling up, right? To level up. I believe that once you start to level up, a certain level requires a whole new skill set. That same work ethic that you use to make 10, 20K, if you're trying to make a mil, you can't use that same work ethic to make, 10 mil. You have to step it up. You have to like surround yourself with people who are doing
Yep.
that. You have to learn. You have to enhance yourself. So if you're on that journey and someone else is not thinking, not mentally, they're not there. If they are trying to do something else, you can't
Right.
associate yourself with that person. They might not understand your motivation
Yep.
and your drive because you have
Exactly.
something way bigger than what they ever thought about.
Yep.
Yep.
Because what, like, you may want the best for people and everyone, right? But like, there's nothing worse than carrying around dead weight. Like,
Right.
there's nothing
Yeah.
worse than that. You just can't do it. Like, you can't. The cliche saying, you can't want something for someone more than they want it for themselves. But I mean, that's just the absolute truth of the fact.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing more true than that. And and when you're in the business of helping people, that's one of the most frustrating things. It is just understanding that you can't help everybody.
Mhm.
You just can't.
Right.
Yep.
So all you can do is work on you, and the people that want to be there with you will be there. And the people that don't want it, they'll fizzle off. It's just how it goes. That's how it goes. I think people need to be more comfortable with letting go of certain relationships, whether that's friends or family,
Right.
because oftentimes those are the people that hold people back the most.
Yeah. If it's not conducive to you, like to your 3 points, if it's not making money, not making you happy, and not making, what was the last one?
Better. Making you better.
Making you better.
Yep.
Then, like, at the end of the day, so like, if it's not conducive to any of those things, right? It's like, all right, well,
Yeah.
maybe this person isn't, maybe these people aren't for me, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think we all can probably attest to that. Like, I think we're all in that chapter of life, and it's probably going to be like a forever long kind of chapter, right? It's just me looking to connect with just my people right now. Like, that's, I'm not necessarily, I know you can't be everybody's friend. You can't please everybody at the end of the day. I'm just in this chapter of my life. I'm just trying to ascend as high as possible, but I want to do it with great people. Like your point, I want to do hard with great quality people around me. And I don't care about like the 8 billion people. Like, you can't care about everybody, and you can't include everybody, unfortunately. But for all my people, though, we gonna be good.
Right.
That's exactly it, right? Who's ever sitting at my table, we gonna eat, and that's how that goes.
We're gonna eat.
We eating good too.
Yes.
We eating good.
Exactly.
All that.
So, quick question. I want to touch.
ahead.
No, I just want to touch it. What exactly is a hybrid athlete? I'm not quite sure. Just something like, what exactly is that hybrid athlete?
Yeah, that's kind of a phase that's been thrown around lately, and there's a lot of people who backlash and be like, "Oh, so you run and you lift? You're just an athlete." Well, yeah, an athlete runs and an athlete works out, but athletes are very sport specific, right?
Yeah.
An NFL athlete is very specific to the NFL. You can't name me one NFL person right now who trains so hard for their one job who tomorrow could go run a marathon and feel totally good, right? You can't. Are they phenomenal athletes? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're the best in their field.
Correct.
A hybrid athlete is a person who chooses to be able to train with 2 different modalities that do not help each other. Me being able to deadlift 500 pounds does not fucking help me run a good marathon. And me running a good marathon sure as shit doesn't help me lift 500 pounds, right?
Yeah.
But I'm combining the both of them so that I can be just a complete, well-rounded human being, right? I'm not training for a sport specific. I'm not trying to be the best basketball player, football player, whatever. I want to be decent enough to where you tell me an event's coming up, I'll be ready in 4 to 6 weeks, regardless of what it is.
Right.
Or you want to go to the gym and you want to throw down some heavy ass weight, perfect. Let's go do it. But I just want to be in a position to where I'm ready for whatever. And I just train hard year round. And, so for instance, I've got 2 weeks, I've got an ultra marathon that I'm doing in Joshua Tree. The weekend after that, I'm doing the Desert Rats. It's a half trail marathon here in Grand Junction. And then in July, I've got do you guys know what the triple bypass is? It's a bike ride, 118 miles and over 10,000 feet of elevation. You go up and down over 3 mountain passes. So different, again,
Right.
different though, right?
Right.
But I want to be able to be in a position where I can just be like, okay, cool. I have this coming up in 6 weeks. All I need to do is tweak my training
Right.
geared towards this a little bit more, and I'm going to be ready. Or and then I have a triathlon after that, right? So cool. Now I'll implement swimming again, and then I'll be ready for that. But my personal goal is to one, still look like a bodybuilder,
Right.
be strong as shit, and then be able to be ready for any kind of endurance event that comes my way within 6 to 8 weeks, given whatever prep time I need to make some adjustments in my training. So that is a hybrid athlete in a nutshell, right? And there's tons of people are just like, no, you're just an athlete. Like, and athletes are great. Basketball players, right? Some of the best athletes in the fucking world.
Fact.
That doesn't mean that they can go deadlift 500 pounds and then go turn around and run a marathon, right? They're just very good at what they do, and they're athletic. They can run, they can jump, they can lift heavy, they can do all this, but every bit of their training is focused into being the best basketball player that can be, right? It's not, they're not prepping for a marathon. They're just not.
Yeah.
Right. There's no need for LeBron James to go deadlift 500 pounds. Why does he need to do that? Right. Everything that they do is very, very sports specific. Which is great because that's what they need to focus on. That's what they should be focusing on. But it doesn't make them a hybrid.
Right.
All right, Tyler Goggins.
Yeah.
What was your question, Ramond?
No, I was just gonna ask, man. Because we always talk about how locked in we are, man. Do you ever have downtime, and how do you use it, man? What does that ever look like for you, man? Because some people, I think we all have little things that we do relax with, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like to you, man? You know what I mean?
I'm a movie guy, man. I love movies.
Word.
And I especially love, like, if I ever get a chance to, like, go to a movie theater, get my popcorn and my icy and my Sour Patch Kids and just sit.
Oh yeah, he loves
because downtime for me, I also love golf. I golf a lot during the summer.
Okay.
Diamond golf with me one time.
Before.
Downtime to me is anything that can take like when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business person, business is never off.
Fact.
You're always thinking about something. So even if you are just like sitting there, and you're not working per se, you're thinking about something, right? It's all there. So downtime for me is whatever can completely take my mind away from work or anything. You can focus on that. So movies for me, because then I'm just focused on the movie. I'm not thinking about anything else. I just love sitting down and watching movies. Or golf. For me, golf is like such a technical game that, like, you don't have time to think about anything else because you're just focused on how shitty your next shot is going to be. So, so those two things for me, those are like big downtime things.
Yeah.
For me.
Favorite genre of films?
Horror, man. I'm a horror guy.
My guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love horror. The horror genre has been a little lackluster.
Dude, it has been anything but great lately.
Wait, but have you seen Talk to Me though?
No, I haven't watched that one yet, but I heard that one was actually pretty good.
That needs to take priority. Talk to Me is fire.
Yep, I'll have to watch that one. I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. I just watched the did you see the Winnie the Pooh, the Blood and Honey?
No, I didn't watch that.
It is the cheesiest, best horror movie you'll ever watch. Like, some horror movies, like, you have to go in just knowing it's not like it's not a Leo DiCaprio, Denzel Washington, like, a phenomenal film, right? Like, you just go in knowing, like, I'm just trying to see some people get fucked up and see some cheesy acting, right? So that's exactly what that one is. But anything horror related, I'm all about it.
Yeah. I'm like I said, that's right up my alley. Horror thrillers, I really like thrillers a lot too, like especially like nowadays and stuff like that. But yeah, like next time we come out to Denver too, we're all gonna have to play golf.
For sure.
Where are you guys at?
I'm in New York, in Brooklyn.
Nice. Okay.
Yep. I'm in Phoenix, so.
Shit. Okay.
Before we
for sure, next time you guys are out, we'll have to go play. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. And then another question for you. What's your favorite cheat meal?
Oh, I love. I don't consider sushi a cheat meal because it's like fish and rice.
Right.
Uh, but I do love sushi. I do love pizza, and I do like just a massive plate of nachos.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
Word.
that's money.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, yeah. Just
Oh,
a giant plate of nachos with just loaded up with everything. I'll just kill it.
Yeah.
so before we take up much of your time, where can everybody reach you and find you at? You know, if you want to give your
Yeah. Just
platform.
on Instagram is like what I'm mostly on.
Right.
On Instagram, yeah, at tholt21 underscore. That's basically where I do everything. I'm on Facebook and TikTok, but Instagram is what I'm on the most.
And if
Right.
people wanted to come train with you, like potentially, or just wanted to check you out, what does that look like?
Yeah, just reach out to me. Or if you're in Colorado, the Denver area, my gym is 212 Performance Gym.
Okay.
It's out in Centennial, so you feel free you can email us or you can stop on in and come check the place out. If you're interested in actual training, message me because my availability is not wide open. So as long as it works out for all parties, we can do that.
Yeah. Next time we're in Denver, we'll come.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, come get a lift in for sure.
Definitely come get.
Thanks.
But
Absolutely.
All right.
Tyler, man, thank you for joining us. All the insight. Definitely appreciate you sharing your journey. I think that is a big part of greatness too. To your point, is like not just going through the process, but sharing it as well.
Yeah,
So thank you for
All
sharing.
right.
yeah we
We really
appreciate
Yeah,
Appreciate
taking
it.
time, my man.
yeah, I appreciate you guys and sharing my journey is one of those. It's what got me to where I am. You know, I had no intention of being any kind of influence to anybody. I just wanted to be better for myself, and it ended up being this way. And now anything I can do to touch somebody's life in any kind of way, that's what fuels me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Once I get better, man, I'm gonna come to the gym right now. Can't even leave my house.
Yeah, dude, take care of that knee,
Yeah.
man. Take care of that
You
knee.
take care of that thing, man. That's tough.
Once you're ready,
uh,
Tyler Goggins will be ready for you. Don't worry.
hey,
Yeah,
hey,
Come
I
on,
told
man.
you, man. I trained with Tyler one day. We did shoulders, bro. I got home, my shoulders were like dirt for like 2 days. I was like, we kept doing superset. Man. I was like, hey, Tyler, hey, man, come on, we gotta cut this shit out.
yeah. He's like, I was like, oh, we're only halfway through, man. Let's
You
go.
know?
Stay focused.
So I'll be looking forward to that, man. All right, brothers. I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, you
All right.
guys.
All
Hey,
right,
guys,
fellas.
All right.
All right.
Have
nice
easy,
to meet you
man.
guys. Have a great night.
Yes, sir.
All right.
You too.